Hey there, it's Kevin with Interstate Explorers, and we're starting a new series on campsite reviews. So this weekend we're staying at the Springs RV and Golf Resort in Borrego Springs, California. Make sure you stick around for the end of this video where we give you our compiled rating and some things to do in the area. So the first thing we're going to talk about are the types of sites offered. This RV resort offers 163 paved full hookup sites. The RV park itself is flat and laid out in a logical sense, so you won't have to do any crazy turns or maneuvering or anything like that. The hookups at each site are also laid out in a logical sense, so you probably will not need any extenders once you get into your site. And at this RV park, there are 5 different types of sites that are available. There's pull-throughs and there's back-end sites. And basically, the more expensive the site means the closer that it's going to be to the golf course. So let's start with the pull-through sites first. There are 2 main types of pull-through sites. There's a premium pull-through and the resort pull-through. This is a premium pull-through site, and the main difference is that the premium pull-through site has this picnic table here with the benches. And the resort pull-through, which is actually right next to it, as you can see, does not have chairs. It just has that round table. The other main difference between the two is that the premium is going to be in a better location. So here's the golf course, and the premium is right next to the golf course, whereas just the resort pull-throughs, which are all down this way, are more in the center of the park and not near the golf courses. We are staying in a resort pull-through and like that site just fine. And moving on to the back-end sites, we have this first type, which is called the fairway. And with this one, the main draw of this site is that it's located, as you can see, right on the fairway. This site has a wide concrete path. It's got the picnic table, and then there's the fairway right there. So it's fairly deep, it's definitely wide on the concrete, and it's in a good location. Now, on the other side of the road, you have what are called the premium back-end sites, and these are much more narrow with the concrete pad, and they do have that picnic table, but it's just not in as good of location because you're kind of packed here. I mean, you definitely have plenty of space, but you're still around other trailers, whereas this, you have a nice view of the fairway. And the final type of back-end site is what's called the premium corner, and this offers the same as the fairway sites. It's wide, it's in a good location, and you're on the corner, so you've got one less neighbor. And lastly, this park does have 3 tiny homes available, so here they are right here. So if you're interested in staying in these instead of an RV, this is an option as well. So overall, we really like this RV park and all the sites that they offer a lot. We like the fact that they're paved and that everything is laid out in a logical sense. Now, the only negative could be is that if you have a rig that is probably over 40 feet or so, you might have a little bit of a difficult time. When we did our pull-through with our 35-foot rig, we had to wiggle it around a little bit, largely because some of the pavement pads are not very wide. But if you're worried about that, I would go for one of their back-end sites because those pavement pads, especially on the fairway sites, are a lot wider. So overall, we're giving the sites a 9.1 out of 10. Okay, so moving on to our next part of this review, which are the amenities, because this park boasts some pretty impressive amenities. It's got a spa and fitness center, a 9-hole championship golf course. It's got mineral baths, massages and acupuncture on site. So let's go check some of those out. Here is the golf course. The golf course is probably going to be the main draw of this place. We're not golfers, so we're not going to do this, and I do believe that it costs extra to go here. They have 9 holes, but it's just nice. You can just get out of your RV and go golfing should you want to do that. And as I was walking around, I found this outdoor area. So we have a basketball hoop there should you want to bring your own basketball and play. And it looks like there's another basketball hoop here, so you could adjust that and probably get a pretty decent game going here. There's a amphitheater here. It's called the Dreamweaver Amphitheater, so I'm sure they do events and stuff here as well. And over here is the pool, so you can kind of see that right there. And then there's some mineral baths over here. Looks like we have some tennis courts and pickleball courts over here. Looks like a small little playground. And then there's your dog park as well if you have a dog with you. So overall, these amenities are quite impressive. There's a lot of things to do here, especially if you're a golfer. So the amenities are going to get a 9.2 out of 10. And the next part of this review is going to be on park accessibility. This is the main drawback to this park because it's hard to get to. And this isn't so much an issue with the park itself, but more of an issue with the town it's in, Borrego Springs. Most of the guests are likely coming from the LA or San Diego metro area, and in order to get here from those two places, you have to cross a mountain range that only has single lane, curvy mountain roads. When you reserve your spot on their website and you get your confirmation email, it includes driving directions and includes an alternate route, because the default route that your GPS will put in is not safe for rigs over 25 feet. So if you have a rig over 25 feet, you want to take the alternate route, which is still pretty windy and curvy. During our drive to get here, we had to slow down to about 20 miles an hour on some of those curves, and we had to pull over a lot to let the faster traffic go past us. So because of the accessibility, because it's difficult to get here, this is going to get a 4.2 out of 10. And the next part of this review is going to be on park location. The main draw of Borrego Springs is the Enza Borrego State Park and some off-roading areas nearby. This RV resort is about 10 to 20 minutes away from the park's closest border, because Enza Borrego is a huge state park, so that's pretty good. Also, Borrego Springs is not a very big town, so with not a lot of hotel offers, so this is definitely a good choice. So because of location, it's going to get an 8.2 out of 10. And our final segment is going to be on pricing. Now, pricing is going to vary depending on what season you come in, what type of site you have, and whether you're staying a weekday, weekend, monthly, weekly, and all that stuff. So let's start with our prime season rates. This is going to be the same time that we stayed at the beginning of October, and your weekday rates are $67 to $87 depending on site, and the weekends are going to be basically $10 more. And then there's your weekly and your monthly rates. During the winter, when the weather is best in the California desert, the prices are going to go up quite a bit here. Weekdays, $81 to $126, or weekends, $93 to $140. So it can get pretty expensive in the winter. And then during the summer, that's when you're going to see prices being the cheapest, because the summer, you're in the desert, it's going to be hot. Daily prices go down quite a bit, $45 to $55, and then your monthly is actually pretty cheap there. All in all, we feel that pricing is pretty fair based on what you get and the type of RV resort that this is. I would just maybe avoid the weekend during the high season, because $140 is pretty expensive. So all in all, for prices, we're going to give this an 8.2 out of 10. And while you're in Borrego Springs, make sure that you check out the Slot Canyon hike. This is about a 20-minute drive. It does go on a short dirt road, but if you're towing an RV, I'm sure your tow vehicle can certainly handle it. But this Slot Canyon is really cool. It's kind of like the Slot Canyons if you've ever been to Utah or Arizona. It feels a lot like that. It's a pretty simple hike. It does get narrow at times, but we saw people of all ages and families and stuff there, so I highly recommend checking that out. So wrapping things up here, this campsite is going to get a compiled rating of 7.8. We would definitely stay here again, except the main drawback is that it's just hard to get to. Thank you for watching this video. If you got anything of value, please consider liking and subscribing, and stay tuned for more campsite reviews.